Hello friends, welcome to week 9 Samachar Manthan lecture series. Let's now start with IR. The first topic we'll discuss is India-Maldives relationship. By the end of this course, we will be covering almost every important country, every important organization, every important story of international importance. So your IR will be completely done. You don't need any other course for IR. So Maldives we are covering because recently Maldives में क्या चल रहा है कि there has been protests going on against India's so much involvement in Maldives. Usually it's run by the hashtags are run by the opposition parties, and the Indian High Commissioner has also said that greater security needs to be provided to the embassy because many protesters they are protesting very close to the embassy. So let's understand the whole history of India-Maldives relationship. तो Maldives जो है it was under the British rule. 1965 it becomes independent. 78 Maumoon Abdul Gayoom comes to power and he rules for somewhere around 27-28 years. Now in 1980s there was a coup planned against Maumoon Abdul Gayoom. And under the coup, so basically क्या था, there was a businessman there was a Maldivian businessman in Sri Lanka, Abdullah Lutfi, and he was the mastermind of this coup. So what he did was there were a lot of these LM mercenaries who were there. LM means the Tamil fighters who were fighting for independent Tamil nation in Sri Lanka. So he hired these Tamil fighters, and 80 of these mercenaries, what they did was very close to the Maldivian border. They hijacked a Sri Lankan trawler, Sri Lankan boat, and then they entered Maldives. There were 80 of them. 120 of them had already came earlier, and they became mixed as a tourist. So there were 200 of them, and these 200 of mercenaries, Tamil mercenaries, they attacked the island. They captured the important offices. They even captured the presidential palace. The president has to, leave the palace and he has to, go to some area of security. Then the Maldivian Foreign Ministry, Defense Ministry started calling to different people in the world. Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Singapore. Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Singapore said that we don't have the capability to intervene in the coup. During that time, Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister and he was traveling from Kolkata to Delhi. So he was in the flight. So when he comes to Delhi, Ronan Sen, who was the Joint Secretary in the PMO, later he became India's ambassador to USA. Ronan Sen then informed Rajiv Gandhi about this issue. There was an emergency cabinet meeting, and India decided that the only way we can save Maumoon Gayoom government is by using paratroopers. Paratroopers are those who go by flight and then they jump from the flight and then they enter the region. So Agra से paratroopers जो थे वो भेजे गए Maldives under the leadership of charismatic Colonel, later Brigadier Farooq Bulsar, and then within few hours we defeated the mercenaries and the coup was failed thanks to India's help. So after that, Abdul Gayoom remained very friendly with India because ultimately it was India who saved his chair and also perhaps his life. But 2008 after 2011 or 2008-9, democracy came in Maldives, and in Maldives there are two major political parties. One is the MDP or the Maldivian Democratic Party led by Mohammad Nasheed, who was the first democratically elected president of Maldives. This is MDP. Its political position is center right. It's pro-India party. It's a pro-India party. The second party is Progressive Party of Maldives, and this is led by Abdullah Yameen, who was the president before the incumbent president. And this party is close to China. So it's in India's interest to support the Nasheed's MDP. Nasheed is no more the president, but he is the president of the MDP party. He is not the president of Maldives, but he is the president of the party. Now moving on to the areas of cooperation. So there are three main areas of cooperation. One is economic cooperation, second is Indian community, and third is people to people. So Maldives is very much dependent on India. It's a very small island nation. The capital of Maldives, Male, is 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. You can walk Male from one end to another end. It's a very small country. So India supplies them a lot of these economic supplies. We also help Maldivian students to study in India, and our State Bank of India, it also gives loan to these tourist resorts in these in Maldives. So also SBI gives loan for it also gives loan to the Maldivian people for starting a business. So we have a very robust relationship. We provide them essential food items like rice, wheat, sugar, onion, potato, eggs, construction materials, and all of these we provide them at a very favorable terms of trade. Moving on to the next, which is the people to people contact. So people to people contact जो है इंडिया में काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. There are a lot of Indian tourists who go to Maldives, a lot of Maldivian students studying in India, especially in medical colleges. Similarly, India is a preferred destination for education, medical treatment, etc. And third is the Indian community. So there are 22,000 Indian people in Maldives. Mostly they are working in the hospitality industry, or they are doing other kinds of job. Now, what is the importance of Maldives to India? Maldives is very important to India. Why? Because if you see the location of Maldives, it's here. Whatever ship comes to India, it passes, or whatever ships from Middle East comes to India, it passes through this region. So its strategic location is very much important for India. चाहे इधर से आ रही हो, चाहे इधर से आ रही हो, Maldives is the center. And it is this strategic location of Maldives which has actually ensured that even the world powers are now taking interest on Maldives, especially China. ठीक है ना? Similarly, China का रोल जो है वो Maldives में बढ़ता जा रहा है. China was a very dormant power in the Indian Ocean, but last 10-15 years से China is increasing its role in Maldives. China has even signed free trade agreement with Maldives, and it's also developing many other areas in Maldives. ठीक है ना? तो ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि चाइना जो है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा वहाँ पे ग्रो किया है. थर्ड इज डिफेंस ऑल्सो. अल्टीमेटली इंडिया इज द नेट सिक्योरिटी प्रोवाइडर इन द इंडियन ओशन रीजन. All these island nations, their security is responsibility of India. So it's for India to ensure that it is kept safe. Fourth is Islamic radicalization. Now with the growth of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, what we are seeing is that ISIS is actually playing a very important, some section of Maldivian people, because usually Maldivian Islam is very liberal, very tolerant, but because of influence of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, some of them have got brainwashed. That is also a problem because India does not want another country in the neighborhood from where the terrorism comes to India. So that is the problem. Similarly, diaspora, we have Indian people in Maldives, we need to protect them also. Now let's discuss the basic issues in India-Maldives relationship. तो पहला तो political turmoil है. देखो, it started when Nasheed, who became the first democratically elected president, when he was removed in a coup, and later on Abdullah Yameen became the president of Maldives. अब Abdullah Yameen जो था, he was a person who was very, first of all he imposed emergency. He also imprisoned Mohammad Nasheed on the charges of corruption and other charges for 13 years. He also cancelled many projects of India. He became very close to China. So because of that हुआ क्या कि Prime Minister Modi, when he became the Prime Minister for the first time, he visited almost all the countries in the neighborhood except Maldives, because India wanted to give a signal that we are not happy with what is happening in Maldives. 2018 में things improved when Ibrahim Soli, who is again from the party of Mohammad Nasheed, MDP, Pro-India party, they won election, and therefore after that the things have improved. Second is Chinese influence. Again very important. China जो है वो इस समय मालदीव्स का बिगेस्ट ट्रेडिंग पार्टनर है चाइना. एंड ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ यमीन FTA was signed between China and Maldives. इंडिया के साथ FTA साइन नहीं किया है मालदीव्स ने अभी तक. Similarly, Maldives started, or under Yamin, they started this policy of leasing the island to foreign countries, and China then, Chinese companies bought many of these touristy islands. So all these things happened, that was very troublesome for India. Right now, if we talk of loans, China has given $1.3 billion of loan to Maldives, which is 1/4 of Maldivian GDP. Now, clearly you can see China is following this policy of debt trap diplomacy that we have seen. China is giving them a lot of loans. Now these countries will not be able to repay loan. Now China will extract the leverages from that country that you are not able to repay the loan. Now give us this port, this island, etc., etc. Same China is doing with Sri Lanka, Hambantota, and same it will do with Pakistan. It's all weather friend. Now there have been number of negative developments over the years between India and Maldives. One very important thing is cancellation of GMR project in 2012. That is very, very important. GMR project जो है that has been cancelled, and ये जो था इंडियन कंपनी एयरपोर्ट बना रही थी मालदीव्स में, बट अब जो है वो ट्रांसफर कर दिया है उन्होंने चाइनीज कंपनी को ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ अब्दुल्ला यमीन. Secondly, Indian Prime Minister cancelled the trip in 2015 again because we wanted to give a message. Third is island lease to China that we have talked about. Fourth is BRI and MSR, Belt and Road Initiative and Maritime Silk Route Initiative. Maldives became one of the first country in the world to join the BRI initiative of China. Again, India was not happy with that. Similarly, the FTA that they have signed in 2017, China and Maldives. Similarly, they did a joint exercise with Pakistan in 2018, again not liked by India. Then 2018, Abdullah Yameen imposed emergency. Again, India raised its concern because for India, democracy in our neighborhood is what we want. Next is returns of Indian helicopters. So India did give certain helicopters to Maldives for training persons, but Maldives returned that helicopter because they said that we don't want these helicopters. Again, and lastly, denial of work permits in 2018. So to around 2,000 Indian workers, their work permit had finished. So they were told to go back to India. Their permit was not renewed. In the same scenario, Bangladesh के जो workers थे, उनका जो permit था वो renew कर दिया गया था. Moving on to the resetting of relations. तो basically 2008 में Ibrahim Soli became the president of Maldives, and since then India and Maldives have again revived the relationship. Soli, once Soli was elected, Jaishankar visited Maldives as a signal that we are now willing to deal with Maldives. Similarly, Indian Ocean Rim Association, which is an ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ द आइलैंड नेशन कंट्रीज, तो हमने IORA में मालदीव्स का एडमिशन कराया लास्ट 2 सालों में. मालदीव्स की जो पॉलिसी है, जो नई गवर्नमेंट, द पॉलिसी ऑफ द न्यू गवर्नमेंट इज इंडिया फर्स्ट पॉलिसी. अगेन ऑल्सो इंडिया, मालदीव्स हैज आस्क्ड इंडिया फॉर डॉर्नियर एयरक्राफ्ट एंड वी डिड सेंड देम डॉर्नियर एयरक्राफ्ट. Also during the COVID time also we are helping Maldives in various ways, vaccine etc. Similarly, Maldives जो है उसकी new government है that has dropped FTA with China because the new government feels that the FTA which was signed with China was too much favorable for China, so that FTA deal has now been scrapped. So all these are positive signals, and now India and Maldives are again showing bright picture. But recently there have been certain anti-India sentiments in Maldives. So there has been some hashtags on social media, which is the India out campaign, which means India should go out completely from Maldives. And these hashtags are supported by the opposition Progressive Party of Maldives, which is headed by Abdullah Yameen, which is close to China. So what factors have led a role, or what factors have led a role to such an anti-India sentiments in Maldives? One is domestic politics. So as you know that Maldives की अगर हम बात करें तो Maldives में अब्दुल्ला गयूम के टाइम से, अब्दुल्ला अमीन के टाइम से एंटी इंडिया सेंटिमेंट्स जो थे उनको काफ़ी ज़्यादा रेज कर रहे थे. मतलब ही वांट, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली द ईजिएस्ट थिंग फॉर द पॉलिटिकल एलिट्स इन अवर नेबरहुड टू डू इज to tell them that if we are not doing well, it's because of big brother India. So Yamin government also did the same thing. So domestic politics is very important because ultimately Yamin's party is pro-China, this party in power is pro-India. So perhaps they wanted to, by invoking anti-India sentiments, the opposition party wants to strengthen their case. India में होता है ना, पाकिस्तान इलेक्शन से पहले पाकिस्तान याद आ जाता है, anti-Pakistan sentiment. Same is happening in the case of Maldives. Similarly, there's been controversy over India's helicopter gift. So India did gifted helicopter to Maldives, and the purpose was rescue operations, disaster management, surveillance, etc. But according to Maldivian opposition, this aircraft is given as for defense purposes, and India and Maldives is becoming a satellite nation for India. Third is opaqueness in Indian-Maldives relationship. तो जो भी defense agreement sign हुए हैं पिछले कुछ सालों में, the ruling party has not told the parliament what has been signed in these agreements. So this opaqueness means that the opposition has now the opportunity to convince the people that this government is selling the nation to India. And fourthly, there is perception of interference in domestic affairs. वो तो सारी कंट्रियों पे है, इंडिया के नेबरहुड में. They feel that India interferes a lot in the domestic affairs of the countries. Moving on to the way forward, how India can develop relationship with Maldives. Again, I have told you, way forward in IR is very easy. I will tell it again for those who have not watched the earlier videos. If you talk about way forward between India and any other country, your approach should be that there are 8 areas in IR. One is economic cooperation, or one is trade. Second is investment. Third is defense cooperation. Third is political cooperation. Fourth is political cooperation. Strategic cooperation. Cultural. Science and tech. COVID. And connectivity. These are the 8 angles or 8 or 9 angles in IR answers. And when you write your answer, you need to way forward में यही एंगल लिखो. ठीक है. ट्रेड में क्या कर सकते हैं? FTA कैन बी साइंड विद इंडिया एंड मालदीव्स. इन्वेस्टमेंट में क्या कर सकते हैं कि एनी इन्वेस्टमेंट जो इंडिया कर रही है मालदीव्स में, इट शुड बी गिवन सिंगल विंडो क्लियरेंस एंड इट शुड बी मोर ट्रांसपेरेंसी इन्वॉल्व इन दैट. डिफेंस में जॉइंट पेट्रोलिंग, मिलिट्री एक्सरसाइज की बात कर सकते हैं. पॉलिटिकल में एनुअल पॉलिटिकल समिट बिटवीन द प्राइम मिनिस्टर लेवल, दैट इज समथिंग विच कैन बी डन. Strategy में क्या कर सकते हैं? We can go for 2+2 dialogues, which means our defense minister and our foreign minister talking with the Maldivian defense and foreign minister every year. Also, India can train Maldivian army. Cultural, सबको पता है. Science and tech, COVID. COVID is a new angle because COVID, now everything is around COVID. So we can introduce or we can increase COVID diplomacy again. All these things you can talk about. Science and tech में we can talk about more research because Maldives is a country which is just above the water. So if there will be climate change, Maldives will drown. So उसके लिए भी हम लोग जो है रिसर्च कर सकते हैं. So कोई भी कंट्री के साथ आपका आता है तो ये सिंपल फॉर्मूला अपनाइए and you will never face any problem in IR.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civil's Daily.